Hi, we're Lee and Mandy, the Frugal Travellers, travelling the world on a budget and currently house sitting our way around Portugal.
We've been house sitting in Portugal for 1 year now, so in this video we're going to show you exactly how much we spent during that time.
Yeah, we're going to break it down into sections and show you how much we spent, where we spent it and what our daily average was. So stay around till later in the video and we'll show you exactly.
We're going to be talking in US dollars, but we'll put cards up with the prices in euros and pounds as well for easy currency conversion.
So what have we been doing in the last year? To explain, we've been house sitting around Portugal and we've done 13 different house sits in total. Some of them have been repeat house sits. People have asked us back because they've liked what we've done. We've been based mainly in the central region of Portugal, in the Silver Coast area, because the house sits all came together there.
So we've been to such lovely places as Setúbal, just south of Lisbon, and Alcobaça. We've house sat a few times in Caldas, Praia del Rei.
And around there, yeah. And also Nazaré as well. And then a bit further north on a quinta up near the Serra da Estrela, which was a beautiful place out in the countryside.
Absolutely stunning. We also spent 18 days doing our first ever workaway in a hostel in Cascais. And yes, we made a video, see the card above. So with workaway, you work from between 4 to 5 hours a day in exchange for food and accommodation. And if you're interested in learning more about this, then click on the link below. And we've looked after various different types of pets, from cats, dogs, large and small.
From a Chihuahua up to huskies, which we're looking after right now.
Yep. And we've also looked after fish and birds, lovebirds and canaries.
Yep.
On the quinta there were chickens as well.
Yeah, and 5 rats as well, house rats, which we were not sure about at first, but they were absolutely gorgeous.
They were beautiful.
Loved them. Yeah.
Fell in love with them.
So we fell in love with most of the animals, actually.
All of them.
Yeah.
We've been really lucky. Every single pet we've looked after has been wonderful.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah, and so we've really had like our dose of, you know, our animal time, and we don't mind sharing our bed with, you know what I mean? And at one stage at the quinta it was a thunderstorm, and I think we had all 5 pets, the 3 cats and the 2 dogs on the bed
hunkered down with us.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
And that's going on to explaining what house sitting entails, you know. So basically, for people who don't know, house sitting is looking after people's properties while they're away for whatever reason, taking care of their homes and looking after their pets as well, their beloved pets. So it's quite a big responsibility. There's a big commitment involved, because when you're looking after dogs and things like that, you can't be away for too long. The pets want your company, so it's one of those things where you really have to be committed to it. And if you're an animal lover, then it's a wonderful way to save money and also to travel around and see different places.
Yes, I think some people think it's just about free accommodation. It's not that in the slightest, you know what I mean? It's it's far more involved. As Lee said, you know, sometimes some animals you can't leave for longer than, say, 4 or 5 hours. We looked after one 16-and-a-half-year-old dog, and she had to, you know, have medication, etc. We had to keep an eye on her. Yeah. And so it is a huge commitment, but it's one that we've so thoroughly enjoyed for the past year. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we've been on the road for a long time, and it's also a nice way to stop and just have a bit of home life and pet life, which is wonderful. It's like going back to your own home, really. But you're in a different place, so you experience something fantastically new, and you save some money along the way, which is what this video is about showing you. House sitting is a free service. We look after the home and pets, and in return we get free accommodation.
And it's win-win on both sides.
Yeah, we could talk a lot about this, so but we want to talk about the money side of things at the moment. So if you'd like to know more about house sitting, let us know in the comments below, and we can always make another video. One of the questions we get asked a lot is, how do we find these house sits? Now, this is the bit where I say click on the link below to link to Trusted House Sitters, which is a massive worldwide website to find house sits. With the link you get 10% off, and we also get a commission. But to be honest, we haven't used that to find any of these house sits, have we, Mandy?
No. I turned to trusty Facebook. I went onto Facebook last year and did a search for house sitting and found a group called House and Pet Sitting in Spain and Portugal. And that's where we found our very first sit here in Portugal. So that was a fantastic house sit. It was looking after 4 small dogs for 5 weeks. And we got on so well with the owner, and I don't know, it was just so brilliant. She was just so pleased with how well we looked after them that she then put a post on her local Facebook group recommending us for future house sits.
Yeah, so people then started approaching us. Word of mouth is always a good way. Oh, Mishka's found something.
That's another reason why it's so important to do the very best you can, because word of mouth is actually how we've found most of our sits here in Portugal. And yeah, it's just been fantastic. And we've got a good reputation for it now, and we're looking forward to house sitting internationally.
All around the world, yeah. So if you're somewhere else and you'd like some house sitters, we are going to be travelling on from here. So hit us up, maybe we can house sit for you. And the other way we found some house sits is through YouTube. People have watched our videos and approached us through YouTube and asked us to house sit for them. And that's worked out really well on some occasions. So that's really good. So let's get down to the financial side of things. I've got this little red book, and every single day, whatever we spend, I write it down in there, and then it goes onto the magic box, and I keep a tally of everything we spend on a daily basis, so I can work out at the end of the year how much we've spent.
Just so you know, he's not even using spreadsheets. Lee does it all in like notes, and then he's got
a little bit old school, yeah. It's time to move on to spreadsheets one day. I'll get around to it, I'm sure I will.
And how many of those little books have you been through now?
This is the third one, I think, in 5 years of travel.
And almost had a disaster. Mishka, yeah, she likes chewing paper. And the other day we came back and it was like...
Occupational hazard from house sitting.
That's a very good point, actually. Learn the foibles, learn the idiosyncrasies of the pets.
Yeah. So what I've done is broken it down to the different categories of what we've spent, and basically I've gone into 5 categories. So it's accommodation, food and drink, travel, miscellaneous, and medical costs.
The first category we're going to talk about is food and drink.
We spent exactly $3,155 for the two of us on food and drink for an entire year.
Now, normally we'd be spending a lot more than that, because even though we stick to a budget of under $25 each a day, we still like to go out for lunch, because at places like Portugal, the menu do dia, there's like 2 or 3 courses with coffee and wine for like under €10. But because most of these sets, or a lot of the sets, have actually been like either on the Quinta, on the countryside, or here at Praia del Rey on the golf resort, we haven't been able to go out to eat out.
Yeah, so we've been living out of supermarkets, which has saved us a lot of money. The supermarket shops would have included toiletries and things like that as well, so it wasn't all food and drink, but mostly. This hasn't been a normal year. 64% of our expenditure is on food and drink, because normally when you're traveling, the majority of what you spend is on accommodation. And that leads us on to the next section.
So category 2 is accommodation, and we spent a grand total of $554 between us.
Yeah, that's only 11% of our budget was spent on accommodation, and that's because we only spent 21 nights in paid accommodation, and we spent 344 nights in not paid accommodation house sitting.
And just so you know, we actually chose to have a holiday from house sitting because we wanted to see some more of Portugal. And so in that time, the first time we went to Nazaré for 4 nights, and then we took a 2-week break and we went to Tomar and Évora and Faro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to see a little bit more of Portugal in between our house sits.
Yeah.
So that averaged at $25 a night per night, and if we'd have spent 365 nights doing that, you can imagine how much we would have spent. We only spent 11% of our budget on accommodation this year.
And so now the third section is travel.
We spent $494 on travel, which is 10.1% of our total expenditure.
And of course, we don't have a car, so we rely on buses. So we use Red Expressos and Flixbus to get around.
Yeah, we've raced up and down Portugal all around, going to house sits and visiting other places. We've also taken a couple of taxis.
Yes, like in this house sit here, for example, at Praia del Rey, we'd walk the 11 kilometres to Peniche and then get a taxi back with our shopping.
Yeah, sometimes the logistics is quite difficult. We do like walking, but we're not going to walk 11 kilometres with our shopping, no.
Category 4 is miscellaneous.
We spent $364 in total on miscellaneous things, which is 7.4% of our annual expenditure.
That includes things like postcards and postage, cough medicine, other bits and pieces, and also we've got a very basic UK plan for my phone, and Lee's got a Portuguese SIM card as well for his. So yeah,
and there was a few clothing items in there as well, second hand mostly, weren't they?
Oh, my beautiful orange cardigan from Cascais. It was only €1, but you know, these things add up.
That was a small percentage of the annual budget.
And category 5 is medical.
The final expenditure, yes, $333 was spent on medical things. That's 6.8% of our budgets.
Yes, and it was basically this vein on my neck. I decided to have it checked out, and so I, saw a couple of specialists, had some X-rays and scans, and there's no conclusive answer as yet, but I don't know. We'll keep you posted to see what happens there. Okay, so now we'll come to the conclusion, and The grand total for how much we spent during our 1 year of house sitting in Portugal was
$4,900 US.
So that works out per person at
$2,450 US per person.
making that an average per day each of
$6 US and 72 cents.
so that's well under our $25 a day budget. So that shows one of the reasons why house sitting is an absolutely brilliant idea for people who want to travel long term on a budget, like slow travel especially as well.
Yeah.
If you love pets, and yeah, it's the perfect lifestyle. Perfect lifestyle for us anyway.
Yes. To be clear, this is definitely not a normal travel year for us. Normally we would be spending money on flights. We haven't left Portugal this year. We've been house sitting most of the time. So a huge amount of money has been saved on accommodation. We've eaten in a lot more than we normally would because we've been in remote places, and this all adds up to a huge saving for us. This is actually the end of the 5th year of us being on the road when we left Australia, and all of the other travel years have averaged out more around the $20 to $25 US per person per day. So we can see that this year we've spent a quarter of that.
Yeah, when Lee first did the figures, we couldn't believe them. You know what I mean? Like, it totally blew him away.
Yeah.
We knew that we weren't spending as much as normal, but it's just been incredible. So we are going to leave Portugal eventually, and when we do, we're definitely going to be looking at house sitting our way around the globe. And so we're going to let people know in advance, like on social media, etc., which countries we're going to be in. And so if you'd like us to house sit for you, well, make sure you keep in touch.
We hope you found this video interesting and helpful, and if you do, please like and subscribe and share with your friends.
And if you've got any tips for other house sitters, or even for us, please let us know in the comments below.
And keep watching for more frugal travel tips and advice as we slowly wander the globe. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.